And the executive summary is where it all starts. Because actually, once you can write the executive summary and get that nailed, everything else writes itself. But the real problem is, as you just kind of identified, Neve, is where do you start? How do you do this? What does that look like? Now, if the two of you haven't already, please work through the how to build a cast iron business case for partnership that's within Progress to Partner, because this gives you the nuts, and that gives you the nuts and bolts of putting together a business case. Sorry, a business plan, very much so. But let's assume, so why is it so important? Now, in the world of this, the world of small businesses, you'll hear a lot about the one-page business plan. And there's a reason that is so popular, because they're really concise. They say exactly what you're going to do and why you're going to do it. And all too often when we're writing this stuff, we put in too much waffle. We put in too much vague stuff. So the aim is very much need for you is get that executive summary right, and then everything else becomes easy. And it's this executive summary that you're going to use before, during, and after the partnership panel interview to basically have conversations with people about, this is the commercial promise of what I bring to the table if I'm made partner. Have you noticed I'm not talking about getting promoted? This is the commercial promise that I'm bringing. And this is what we're going to try and get away from. So what actually needs to go into it? So I've read a lot of people's executive summary, and it's not why I should be made partner. Definitely not why I should be made partner, because then we get into the whole reams of, I'm great with people, I'm good at winning work, I deserve to be made partner. We're not talking about that. So when we think about the executive summary, imagine that sitting the other side is your typical partner in your firm who is time poor, just give me the headlines. So when we think about an executive summary, that's what we're looking at there. We're give me the headlines, and then the business case and the full submission gives all of the granular detail. And so we start with a one sentence sell. And this is the one sentence which sums up the commercial promise of your business case. And it's normally written along the lines of, by this date, which is normally about 3 years in the future, and I'm going to come to it more into that one sentence sell. By this date, 3 years into the future, I will have grown this part of the business from this to this with this level of profitability. And if you can't say that now, what are you actually going to do with some numbers on it? This is where you need to start with your business case. The next bit of the executive summary, and I'm going to go into more detail very shortly about these bits, is where we talk about the 3 sentence sell, where you actually then divide the structure up of your executive summary into 3 key reasons why, how you're going to actually hit this number. What is it that you're going to do to drive that? What are those reasons of how you're going to achieve that? And, I talk about a paragraph 2 or 3 that you have for each of those. And the way you structure it is you literally have I was doing this for somebody yesterday, and they had up the India desk for their firm. And I said, you're going to grow the India desk from this to this is one of the things. We then talked about building the sustainability hub from this to this. But we also talked about the marketplace changing and why that was going to be so important as well. And that was part of it. But then the third thing we talked about is what he was going to get out of his existing clients. And that was what he did. So I then said, right, if you've got headings for those 3, you can now put in the supplementary detail, but not too much, enough so they know the detail. And then put a graph that ideally you want to have the lines going up, really. Unless it's cost, of which it's got to go down. And why is a picture worth 1,000 words? Well, our brain is desperately trying to make its life easy. It wants to default to something called System 1 thinking. And System 1 thinking is where the brain goes on autopilot. It's the same kind of thinking we do when we go 1 and 1 equals 2. We don't have to think about it. And what we're trying to do as we're presenting our business case or writing it is help people brain just automatically go, yeah, this works. So a picture with a line going up is a really good shortcut. It's more memorable than trying to wade through a paragraph of text, which is why having tables of numbers, graphs with lines going up is so important to help people look at it quickly and go, yes, I can back this. Because remember, that's what we're wanting. We're wanting the other side of the table, the investors in you, to decide that they do want to bring you in and let you invest in their business. And if we're going to get this really crystal clear, the length of the summary of this executive summary should be no more than 2 pages long. And this is what it's about. So hopefully, Neve, this is sort of helping you a little bit with how to write your business case effectively. It's not about jumping in and putting all the words down on the page. You start with getting crystal clear. If I was to sit talking to you, Neve, I could spend 2-3 minutes getting less than that, getting over the key headlines of my business case. That's what we've got to do first. And that's what starts to give your partners comfort when they can see that crystallized. Here are the numbers. This is what I'm going to do to achieve them. So I talked about this one sentence sell is that sentence to capture the promise of your business case. And these are the sort of examples that potentially you could have. I'll grow the UK transfer pricing practice from da 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 da. I was doing one for a law firm. Within 3 years between the India desk and the sustainability hub, I will be generating 500k of revenue. Actually, it was originating 500,000 of revenue each year. It's this kind of stuff where it's like, actually, forget about all the fluff and be brilliant. That's not what we're talking about. What are the cold, hard numbers? We've got to remember the business case is about how you're going. It's the commercial reasons for you to be made partner. We're not talking about your personal case where you're a good fit and your partners trust you. And of course, they're interlinked, but it's about what is the commercial case. So the 3-sentence sell are the 3 main selling points of your business case. This is the evidence that A, there's a sustainable and robust business case, but B, you're the right person to deliver it. That is what we're really talking about. Now, let me just look at the 3-sentence sell. So this was for a transfer pricing case, but I'll take you through the one that we talked about for this lawyer from a mid-tier firm. And, they talk, very much the big 4 love to have within their 3-sentence sell. I'm the go-to expert. A lot of the tax specialists within the big 4 are looking to move from a time-based model to an asset-based model. So that annuity income, that asset-based consulting. So it's a bit of a buzzword that within the big 4 at the moment. So, that was something for the big 4, but I've just put together a 3-sentence sell to help, a really good lawyer. And we talked about the 3 sentences were one about heading up the India desk and about how that would grow to be 200k within 3 years. We then talked about building the sustainability hub, which would be the bit that got the work out of particularly one organization that they're a member of, and that would grow to be, I think that was about 300k. And then he would look to grow his existing portfolio by adding that. And so that was his 3-sentence sell. Now, within that, one of the things we looked at is what were the commercial rationale? Why was sustainability such a big topic in real estate? Why was it so important? And that was all to do with the fact that, in terms of the market forces, this was becoming far more prevalent in what people needed to think about. It's far more on top of people's agendas. And actually, if we didn't have that within our offering, people may go elsewhere. So the other thing we talked about there was the reams of the fact that Brexit would mean that here within the UK, there would be more reason for non-EU companies to come and invest and export than there probably had been because we were outside of the UK. So when you look at this 3-sentence sell, can you break down that one sentence into 3 sentences? Then it's about putting in those paragraphs to justify that, particularly in the big 4, when you look at the big 4 or any of the big, say, really big law firms. For most of them, they're dealing with the big corporates, the big institutional clients. There is only a certain amount of, say, government departments that are going to need something if you're a public sector. And so one of the things that they're particularly looking at, particularly for a big 4 business case, is how is the market shifting? Why should we suddenly be able to generate an extra couple of million because you're made partner? But when we talk about the talk sheet, so the talk sheet is where you take the executive summary and you take it even tighter and more succinctly. And if you can get your business case down to basically 4 or 5 bullet points with 4 or 5 graphs, you really have got the essence of your business case. You are absolutely clear on what are the facts, what are you trying to do, how are you going to try and do that. Remember, think about this as a bit of due diligence. We're not thinking about this as a promotion to partner. This is a due diligence process. So a talk sheet is where, as you say, you really crystallized out. Now within this sort of thing, as you can see, gives that clear explanation of what's happening with the top line, what's happening with the bottom line, what's going to be the team size, what's our route to market. And this is a key thing that matters here.